philosophy tends to conjure up images of people contemplating the nature of virtue, truth, or the meaning of life, often with more concern for being profound than being practical. But every once in a while, history gives us someone who flips the whole genre on its head. A thinker who didn't just write about how the world should work, but rolled up his sleeves and made things function efficiently, strategically, without apologies. Guan Zhong was that kind of philosopher. He wasn't interested in the heavens. He was interested in grain, in roads, in salt, and how, if you understood these things well enough, you could hold a state together in an age when everything around you was collapsing. He lived during the spring and autumn period of ancient China, a time when the Zhou dynasty's power was mostly symbolic and dozens of feudal states were circling each other like wolves. It was a world that didn't reward idealism. It rewarded competence. Guan Zhong wasn't born into power, but he climbed fast. In one of history's more cinematic plot twists, he began his career trying to assassinate the man who would later become his employer. He'd backed a rival prince to the throne of Qi, and when that prince lost, Guan Zhong, now a traitor, was imprisoned. But instead of being executed, he was vouched for by his old friend Bao Shuya, who said to the new duke, "You may not like Guan Zhong, but if you want to rule well, you need him." And the duke listened. Guan Zhong went from prisoner to prime minister. Now, this wasn't a golden age of philosophy. No one was handing out scrolls of poetry or debating metaphysics in courtyards. States were falling apart. Warlords were consolidating power. And Guan Zhong saw an opportunity, not to restore the past, but to build something new. As prime minister, he launched a series of reforms that would change the structure of Qi and serve as a model for other states to follow. He standardized taxation, introduced monopolies on salt and iron, and reorganized the bureaucracy. He weakened the power of the feudal nobility and built a meritocratic system where officials were promoted by ability, not birth. In modern terms, he turned Qi into a functioning administrative state. But what made him more than a politician was the depth behind these reforms. His ideas, later recorded in the Guanzi, a sprawling collection that includes both his teachings and later elaborations, reveal a consistent philosophy of balance, adaptability, and state-centered rationality. He believed that the key to political order was not ideology, but timing. He advised rulers to govern according to the situation, to use Confucian gentleness when appropriate, legalist toughness when necessary. He avoided extremes. Stagnation was dangerous, but so was impulsive reform. His ideal ruler wasn't a sage king or a mystical figure. It was someone who could read the room. This made him unpopular with later purists. Confucian thinkers praised him cautiously, acknowledging his ability to preserve order while quietly condemning his lack of moral orthodoxy. Legalists, on the other hand, admired his pragmatism but found him too subtle, too flexible. And Taoists, they probably thought he was just meddling with things that ought to be left alone. But what's striking is that his methods worked. Qi, under his guidance, became the most powerful state of its time. While other regions fought petty wars and fell into decline, Qi stabilized, centralized, and prospered. He didn't just theorize about how a state might be run. He ran one, successfully, and with a mind as analytical as any philosopher's, just pointed in a different direction. There's a story, likely apocryphal, but instructive, that after his death, Duke Guan, his old friend and benefactor, fell into disarray. Without Guan Zhong's guidance, factionalism returned, and even the Duke's own corpse was left unattended for days due to political squabbling. The implication is clear. Good policy requires constant maintenance. Institutions don't run themselves. Ideas don't protect themselves. Guan Zhong didn't believe that power should be admired for its own sake. He believed that power should be organized, channeled into systems that outlast the individuals who hold it. That the health of a state depends not just on the wisdom of rulers, but on the ability to turn abstract principles into practical routines. Governance, for him, was a craft. He also understood, far earlier than many, that a strong state isn't necessarily an oppressive one, coordinated one, a state that feeds its people, pays its soldiers, builds its roads, and doesn't implode every time a charismatic leader dies. It's tempting to dismiss thinkers like Guan Zhong, because they don't give us the lyrical appeal of a Socrates or a Confucius. No long dialogues about the nature of the soul, no grand metaphysical treatises, just salt, tax brackets, water distribution, boring things unless you care about a functioning society. But he left behind a model, not of how to be good in the abstract, but of how to make a system that holds together under pressure. That, in a way, is a kind of virtue, one that modern politics still struggles to grasp. He may not have written aphorisms that look good on posters, but he asked the most difficult question a philosopher can ask: what is the ideal world? But given the one we have, what's the smartest way to live in it? Guan Zhong didn't leave us with parables or poetry. He left us with systems, with policy, with the unromantic machinery that keeps things from falling apart. And maybe that's exactly what we need to remember, that sometimes philosophy isn't about changing the world. Sometimes it's about holding it together.